Hi everyone, it's Emily, and I'm finally putting together a collection tour video for you guys, which is probably my most requested video on the channel. So I have three main shelves where I share most of my video games and video game related merchandise. So I have this little corner unit here, which you may have seen in the background of my more recent videos. And I also have two shelves that kind of act as semi-media shelves that houses the bulk of my games. So first I'll share a little bit of an overview of what the space looks like all together, and then go through things individually and share some of my thought process when it comes to organizing the different sections. So without further ado, let's get into it. Unfortunately, I can't get a better angle because my L-shaped desk is in the way. I've had a few inquiries about where I purchased these shelves from. I got them off of Amazon, so I'll provide a link in the description for those who may be interested. As you see here, I also like to collect for music and K-pop, so that's what the other shelf is on the other side of the corner unit. But today I'll just be focusing on my video game collection. So we're back at the corner unit, and this is the top shelf where I have a lot of Pokemon Center plushies and two different Switch collector's editions. Below that, I have some of my favorite franchises on display. First up, we have Xenoblade. I'm really pleased to now have all three special editions, and I also have a few Xenoblade Chronicles 2 figures with some room to grow because I do have a few on the way. A closer look at Melia, Mithra, and Pyra, and I'm really looking forward to having this shelf continue to grow. And then over here we have my Legend of Zelda shelf, which is a little barren. I do have some Tears of the Kingdom items like the collector's edition coming, but these are the Zelda items I have on display at the moment, including my Link Between Worlds 3DS XL. And then below that are my Trails items. So I'll zoom in on the Nendoroid Petite figures I picked up from a Japanese shop. Then I have some pin box pins. I have ordered a few more, so I'm going to fill up kind of that wall. And then there's the Cold Steel 3 Collector's Edition and the Mishi plush. Then over here we have some more limited editions. So some of the Cold Steel games as well as the Crossbell Duology Collector's Editions. And then more pin box pins of Estelle and Joshua. And then these are two of the Trails in the Sky Japanese PS Vita limited editions with my Reen and Altina figures right in front. Take a closer look at them, and I have quite a number of Trails figures that will join them very soon. And then below that is my Fire Emblem shelf. So I have quite a number of limited editions and some figures. I do have the Fire Emblem Engage tarot card pre-order bonus, and then behind Lynn we have Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia, and then Fire Emblem Three Houses with the main house leaders acrylic standees, and then Fire Emblem Engage and Shadow Dragon with some of the goodies that were inside the Shadow Dragon box on display. Then my Fire Emblem Faith Special Edition, and we have my Ike and Byleth figures with my Fire Emblem Awakening art book situated behind them. And then the bottom of the shelf temporarily houses some of my heavier K-pop related items. So I won't go too much into this, as well as my Wonder Girls shelf that I think will probably be moving soon. But above that, I have some displays with the Ori I Am 8-Bit Collector's Edition that the Final Fantasy remaster is kind of propping up so that I can have the nice stained glass window on display. And then I'm going to skip over the shelf and then get into my DS shelf. So I have just a few DS games because this is a sort of new collection for me, with my Gatomon sitting on top. And I have two consoles here. I have my Burgundy DSi XL as well as my 2DS LL or XL that was imported from Japan, and some of my 3DS long boxes in the back there. And then above that is my 3DS collection, which is very much stacked, and I like to organize these by genre and publisher. So you can see all the Atlas games grouped together along with some other JRPGs, some of my cardboard boxes, and then my Square Enix games, Xenoblade and Project Cross Zone, Professor Layton, all the monster catching games, some Nintendo first party IPs, and some of my simulation games. And above that are some of my Falcom steelbooks. So I have both of the steelbooks from the Crossbell duology, as well as the Ys 8 Lacrimus of Dawn steelbook. And I have a place set aside for Trails into Reverie that's coming out this summer. Now let's get into some of the center display shelves. First off is my little One Piece area. One Piece is my favorite anime, and I do have a few game-related items that I have on display here, along with some figures. I would love to also add a scale figure someday, probably of Robin, but I'm just waiting for a nice scale figure of her. But for game-related things, I have the One Piece Odyssey steelbook from GameStop, as well as the One Piece Romance Dawn 3DS. And then my main new 3DS XL unit has a One Piece hard shell case on top of it. I've been playing around with the idea of getting some of the One Piece themed consoles that they released in Japan, but it's something I'm still kind of thinking about. And then to the left, I have my Atelier shelf, which right now houses 2 of my limited editions as well as my Riser figures. And I would love to add more of the Nendroids from the Atelier games here. So I'm gonna hopefully add Sophie sometime soon, and I was thinking of going back and getting the other 2 Nendroids that are available. And right now I have some of my games stacked up to prop up my Atelier Lua limited edition. And then below that is my little super giant shelf area, which has my Hades soundtrack, my Cerberus plush, as well as a new acquisition, the collector's edition for Transistor, which I'm really happy to have found for a really good price. And I'm hoping to add more things to the shelf with Hades 2 releasing soon, and I'm also thinking of getting potentially the Zagreus Pop-Up Parade figure to pay homage to one of my favorite games. And next to that is my Ys shelf, which houses, again, some collector's editions and to display the acrylic bookends as well as some of the Nendroid and small figures. And so I have a feeling we'll have more localizations from Ys sometime soon, so I'm hoping to build up this shelf a bit more. Now if we swing up to the left side of Ryza, I have my other Falcom steelbooks on display. These are all from the Cold Steel games, both from the Xseed and the NAS America box sets. And at the very top of the shelf, I just have a few other miscellaneous collector's editions. The boxes in the center are not video game related, so that could definitely move at some point if I need to make more room, but I'm really trying to not purchase too many more collector's editions from outside of my favorite franchises. Then below that is my PS Vita collection with my Aiba from AI The Somnophiles Pop-Up Parade. So I have my Vita boxes and just my OLED sitting there since my Slim is currently in use. These are the games I currently have. Below that is where I intend to put my PSP collection. It's a very new collection, so I only have 2 games at the moment, but I also stuck some of my Game Boy consoles, miscellaneous manuals, and in that tin, my loose carts that I'm still trying to tinker with how I want to display those. So everything's still very much a work in progress, but this is just how I have it set up at the moment. Now for the level that I skipped, this is my entire PlayStation row, with the left side housing all of my childhood PS2 games that I've been considering adding more to. I have some spare manuals and things in the back there, and I've been thinking of maybe trying to find the boxes and games to kind of complete those sets, especially for the Ratchet & Clank and Jak and Daxter series. Then over here is the start of my PS5 collection, and I also have some Studio Ghibli Blu-rays just kind of hanging out there at the moment. And then all these are my PS4 games. And these are, again, loosely organized by genre and publisher, as well as series. So I do plan on building more of this shelf, and I have my PlayStation Hit titles at the end there, since they have different cases. And then on the far right here are my other steelbooks that are not currently on display. Now, if we go below where my PS2 games are housed, I have another little display area, and this is sort of, I guess, my Atlas shelf that I have a feeling will be built up more once I play more of the SMT and Persona games. But right now I just have Catherine full body items, my SMT5 Switch pouch, as well as my Persona 5 Royal Steelbook back there. And then below that are some of my visual novel collector's editions. So I have Witch on the Holy Night, as well as AI, the Somnian Files Nirvana Initiative, which is where that Aiba figure on my PS Vita shelf came from. So the plan is, if I get more visual novels I'm really interested in, add more of the collector's editions down in that area. Now finally, we're on to the Switch section, which take up the 4 center shelves, as well as the bottom 2 shelves for all the steelbook cases and my Rune Factory 5 collector's edition. So we'll start here. This is basically my JRPG shelf, and I do have them again organized by publisher. There are a few exceptions, like with the Falcom games, a few were published not by NIS America. And this is something that came up quite often in my Buying Regrets video, asking what my issue was with the PAL region Switch games. I thought I made it clear, but I guess I will clarify. There's nothing wrong with buying the PAL region games. However, because most of my games are North American, the PAL region games stick out like a sore thumb. For example, you could see 2 games here with the green triangles on the bottom and centered text. So I feel like this just throws off the flow of the shelf, since all my other games are left aligned. So sorry if you were offended by that take. I thought I made it clear, but I guess I didn't. Now below this is my Switch visual novel shelf with the little preemie plush propping up the games at the moment. And so I do have these mostly grouped by publisher, but also by type of visual novel. So I have all the Ultimate games together, some of the romance ones, and then some of the more mystery focused visual novels. So now if we swing up here, this is kind of a mishmash of different types of genres. I'm still trying to figure out how to organize all this, but I have a bunch of my adventure games together, some of the monster collecting and fighting games, some other obscure JRPGs, the platformer games, and some of the farming sort of sim games. And below that are a bunch of my indie games from various publishers and distribution companies. And I have some of the larger boxes holding them up right now. And so this should wrap up what's on these shelves here. And that concludes my shelf tour. I hope you guys enjoyed this one and were able to put up with all my ramblings of how I like to display all of my various games and merchandise. And what I really like about these shelves is that there's still plenty of room to work with, not just for expansion, but to kind of play around and experiment with different displays. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how my shelves change over time. I'm not too sure if this will be an annual video or how often I'll post these, but I think whenever there's some major changes, it'll be fun to kind of make an update video. But let me know how you like to display your collections. Do you like to go alphabetically by genre? Do you like to also display items or just keep it to games? I'd be very curious to know. And until my next video, bye guys.